Okay. My name is Angelina Marie Paglia, better known as Angel. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, in a small town better known as Romulus, which would have been Garden City, Michigan. Born in a very, very small hospital, and I was delivered by a guy that came in on a motorcycle and practically didn't even take his helmet off. So my mom wasn't really expecting me at that time. Now I'm residing in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, and I've lived there most of my life. I came from a really, really good family, an Italian family. My father is full-blooded Sicilian, and my mother is about 6 different types of nationalities: Indian, Irish, Latin, and some Italian. I have one sister, and I'm the youngest. Grew up in a family with a lot of love, a lot of animals, a lot of good cooking, and just a lot of smiles. I've been very blessed in my life. My family is very, very close, and just pretty much always was taught to dream. So I love my family very much. Schooling wasn't very big to me. It was when I was very, very young. I got good grades until I got into billiards. I always had to do my homework before I played, but school my mother always believed that I had this spark in me that was extracurricular. I played the violin for many years. For 8 years, I synchronized swam. And so mostly I dealt with school just to be able to do the things that I loved. I started playing pool when I was about 10 years old. My father took me into a pool room, and it was something that I could do with my dad. He was a good player himself. And the first day that I was in there, I had my bridge. I loved it. My father couldn't get me off the table, and I just had to do my schoolwork and came in there every single day, and it was just an immediate passion that I had for it. I dropped every other extracurricular thing that I did just to be able to play pool. My career in pool started when I was about 13. I won my first big tournament. So locally I was pretty well known in town. I won probably close to 58 tournaments if my father's calculations are right, up until the time I was 16. The Junior Nationals was the most major appearance that I had at 13 and 14, and I placed 3rd. And then I had a bit of a hiatus due to school and high school, and I got back in it when I was about 18. Played my first pro event when I was 18, got 2nd in the North American World Open when I was 18, and then came along another hiatus. But the first pro event I placed in the top 16, and then I wasn't able to get into another event for quite a while. After that, I had done a few other, tournaments here and there, just local. But when I started playing in 2001, I was playing on the pro circuit, and I like to, think that that was really when I made kind of a name for myself. And in 2004, I got my pro status. Back in the time that I was qualifying, it was very, very difficult. The field was full, and I had to win a qualifier, a state championship, to get into just one pro event. Even if I had a great finish, I would have to go back to the drawing board and get it. So it was very, very difficult. I won probably close to 13, 14 tournaments, earning my right to get into every single pro event. And unfortunately, the field was so tough that I couldn't even use all the qualifiers that I had at that time. It's much different now. There's several regional tours. You don't have to fly across the country just to get an opportunity to play in the pros. I think it toughened me up. I think that I was able to learn so much more by the way that we used to have to qualify, and that you had to be really ready for the pro events. So I would say that it was a lot tougher back in the day, definitely. The caliber is a lot tougher now to qualify. You have to, especially in state championships, and I know that the regional system is changing a lot, but back when I was actually qualifying, most of the really great players were already on tour, and having everybody come over from other countries, the caliber has just climbed so much. I actually had to re-qualify recently. It was a lot easier than it was back in the day. All I could think about was pool. School just was not something. I was good at it. I would study good. I would do tests. I would do everything. But the schooling part of it, I'm more about self-education. I like to read books to find out things that are really, really useful to myself. But if I could go back and do it different, I would definitely have focused harder on school and went and got a college education had I been able to do it again. But because I did not do that, I just find that I'm really, really good at self-educating myself. So. Now this is quite interesting, my father and I. He's one of the best safety players around in town. But the father-daughter thing, you just don't click very well, I guess. We would fight, we would argue, he would want me to play more safeties, I would want to run out all the time. But my father was very, very knowledgeable about the game, so supportive of me, very protective of me, and wanting me to win a championship. It was something that he saw in me when I was very, very young, and he pushed a little too hard. But I think that all parents tend to do that sometime. And now that I look back, that I'm older now, I realize that all that he did is instilled deep down, ingrained in me. So my relationship now in my pool game with my father is amazing. He's so supportive, he's proud of me, and it really keeps me going. I have had teachers all along the way. I learn from watching. Every single male player has taught me something. Every female player has taught me something. I had a few coaches, but my main one that I would have to say was my all-time coach was when I started with St. Louis Roberts. He started training me before he left this world, and that was really, really hard on me when I was younger. I almost wanted to quit after I knew what had happened, but I was only 13 years old. I just guess I didn't really understand. But he ingrained a lot in me that I always kind of dig deep in and pull out a bit. But my current coach that has popped in to help me at time to time is Jerry Bryseth, helping with fundamentals and letting me know what I need to work on and where I should go to get that type of work. Yeah, I was just being helped in all my coaching. I've never taken formal lessons. I would say that the most formal lesson that I've had is from Jerry Bryseth. We worked together maybe about 8 times when he came into town. So it wasn't anything that I would study, and I would be able to have the opportunity to work with somebody on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. I've just had to learn what I could, write it down, take videotapes, watch myself on video and try to correct the things that I could, and eventually, just try to reach back into that bag of tricks as much as I could. But I've been wanting to have a coach. I think everybody should have a coach, and have somebody to be able to see what I couldn't feel. But I just really never had that, so I took what I could get. My mother always told me that I picked up things really, really fast. This is kind of a very interesting and very emotional comment that statement that I'm going to make. When I first started playing pool, I was, like I said, I was about 10 or 11, and I had my bridges right away. I had the killer instinct right away. I think I was embedded that from my father. But all through my trials of being a little spoiled and not working very, very hard at my game, when I turned pro, I beat the #1 player at the time, which was Allison Fisher. That got me my last pro point to turn pro. But I realized that even that when you beat one of the best players in the world, one of the most consistent players in the world, it doesn't mean that you're better. It just means that you did what you had to do to win at that time. And I knew that all my natural ability and all my feel that I had in my stroke and the heart that I played with out of my chest, that it wasn't enough. I knew that I was on my way up because I was beating the best players and I was placing in the top 16, but I knew that it would never get me a championship. So talent only takes you so far, and I'm a true believer in that. You've got to hone your skills. And when I thought about that is why I reached out and got a coach and tried to find out how I could fine-tune my game. And it was a very, very difficult road. My few hiatuses that I've had in my life have been due to my fundamentals, trying to harness my swing, puts you into a bit of a rut for a while, makes you wonder if you're ever going to recover. But I have worked my tail off to get through that, and I'm proud of that. But it's been a really, really long road, so it just depends on what my goal was going to be. And did I want to be the best in the world? Did I want to win one championship and retire a winner? And it wasn't that way. I knew that I wanted to be at the top for a long time. And I think I'm climbing up the mountain pretty good, but it's very difficult. It was a big part of my hiatus and why I haven't made it yet. Just when you change anything, I started to lose who I was as a player. You know, I think one of the most important things that I've learned and that I think about all the time is don't try to be somebody else. Be who you are, but you can use just a little bit from everybody. And it would frustrate me. I didn't know who I was as a player. I didn't know what my rhythm was. You know, it caused me to take long breaks at a time. And pretty much that. The men never bother me. You know, I think that inside I always just felt kind of like one of the guys. You know, you go into the pool room, you've been in there since you were 11, 13 years old. And when I walk in there, I'm an itty-bitty thing. But when I walk in, I feel like I'm as big as the guys, you know. I just kind of try to, mold in the whole area. The guys don't give me a hard time. I think I can handle my own. I'm intrigued by their game. I'm intrigued by the power, by the finesse of their game. So I'm always trying to learn. I never really have any problems. Sometimes when I go into maybe a bar or a league tournament and there's people who don't really know me, they'll give me a hard time thinking, girls can't play, things like that. I don't ever pick on them unless somebody's just really, really mean. Then I might. Oh, I've had numerous tournaments. Last year in the 10-ball World Championship in Las Vegas, I played a gentleman from Russia, and I cannot remember his name. But he was just an amazing player. I knew a lot about his history when I played him, and we played 10-ball. And I ended up breaking and running the first 3 10-ball racks, and his demeanor, went from this to, kind of sitting up straight, and played me a great game and ended up winning pretty much almost, well, I'd say I won 4 more games. I think he beat me 10-7. But I've played, pretty much every guy out there. I really took about 4 years playing as many men's tournaments as I could, but that particular match is what I remember. Most definitely, I recommend the women to play as many men as they can. It speeds up their game, it gives them a good sense of rhythm, and it makes them tough. There's so many great male players, so that if you're playing with the men, you know, you're going to learn so much, you know. That's what I've done my whole life. I never played with the women. The only time that I played with the women, and it's nothing to say against the women, of course the caliber is so strong nowadays, but I didn't have really the opportunity locally. But I would get into every men's tournament I possibly could. I'm looking for invitationals of, you know, the big men's events. I've played in California numerous times. I got third in Hard Times Open. I've done numerous things with the men, and I recommend it so much to everybody out there. The men may not like that because the women, you know, they're always complaining sometimes that the women are in the tournaments and stuff, but really we're just, you know, I'm always trying to just get experience and truly, truly respect their game. From what I've heard, it's kind of a double standard, you know, that the men can't always enter the women's events, but yet the women can enter the men's events. And so I think that that's been the feeling around that I've heard. I don't quite know where I stand on that, because I kind of think that it is a little unfair that the women can get in with the men and the men can't with the women. But on a pro level, you know, I think that they should be separate, or we should have things that are just combined, or we should be playing next to each other, because I think that there's a crowd that loves them both. And I think they should be able to get them both. A lot of the times I was doing so much in my life, so many activities. A violinist, you know, I was a much better violinist than I was a pool player, or am a pool player. Synchronized swimming, probably could have went to the Olympics. But yeah, I would say that there's been times I'm sitting back and thinking that I should have probably taken up tennis, you know, or golf. But I do love this game. You know, I believe that, you know, we all should be making a better living at it. I think it takes true talent, you know, to do what we're doing. And, you know, we can't get away from it. I'm addicted for life now. So. My family, my father used to go to some of my pro events, but there's been such a break in time of me playing with taking all these breaks. You know, since I've been on tour, I've probably played, you know, 2 events this year, 3 events this year, and due to the passing of my mother, I took quite a big hiatus from the tour. So now I'm back stronger than ever. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm very, very, you know, working hard and very close to what my goals are. My father happened to come to a pro event just recently here in March that just shocked me, but he felt I was playing really good, so he came out. But typically I'm there by myself, you know, flying, traveling, getting there, rooting myself on, and waiting to send out those plane tickets, you know, when I make it to the finals. I am involved. I do have a boyfriend who's extremely supportive. That's really hard to find, and he does not play pool, which is the first question that everybody asks me. But I'm very, very happy, very content in my life right now. I'm in the right place. I think everything in life should have a little balance, and I think that pool players, we need that humility in the background, you know, of the other side of our relationship. So I always recommend, you know, it's hard to date somebody in your own industry. It may be convenient, but it's, you know, you want to be able to go to work and do your job and go home and have a normal life. You know, pool is not a normal life, but I love it. I've never been one to really set goals on myself. I really feel that in my life right now, I'm honing a lot of my skills after being off and not taking it seriously for a very, very long time and getting over my mother's death. I pretty much have a goal to win a major championship. The steps that I take, I kind of take day by day. It's sharpening every skill that I have, getting mentally strong, and, pretty much winning. I'm looking to come in and basically, win every single event of the season. I mean, my big goal is, it's limitless. I'm trying to push myself as much as I can to find out, what I can do, what I'm fully capable of. And that's pretty much how I set it. I just push myself every day to do better. I don't have a routine. I did for a while there when I had to work fundamentally on things, but now it's just each tournament that I know I have to go to, I might have a month in advance notice or a week in advance notice. I try to play a weekly tournament at least once a week. But when I know that I have an event that's coming, I will prepare and I will put myself on a schedule and I will make sure that I'm hitting balls X amount of time, and then I take a little bit of a break, and let myself get hungry, and then I'll go straight to the tournament. No, I have had that problem with the coach that I actually seeked out to try to work on my fundamentals. Wanted to get me to shorten my bridge length, and let me tell you, that was a challenge. I fought tooth and nail on it. Breaking softer, I fought tooth and nail on it. But I think in the end, he won, and I've been doing it, and it's helped me greatly. So yeah, it's been a struggle trying to go from just a field player and putting English on the cue ball last minute, and waiting till you're feeling good to be able to to shoot just the way that you're feeling. I've become a lot more calculated because of it, but it definitely was a struggle, and I am very, very stubborn, but I think the older that I get, the more I'm just appreciating all the help and the information, and it's working out good for me. I don't really set those type of short or long-term goals on myself. I am one of those people who take it, month by month, day by day. I definitely feel that I'm going to be a part of this industry for my entire life. I'm set on winning a championship. I'm setting on being able to show what I'm capable of. And, I love this sport, tons. Maybe if I win a major championship and I decide to have a family, it'll slow down a little bit, but ever since I was a little girl, always thought I would be in the industry. I thought I'd be trying to win a championship when I was having a child, and I thought I would be raising my kids and teaching them how to play this game too. So I guess a big part of me is winning tournaments, trying to become a part of the industry, make it better so that all the kids, including my children, have a better future at it than we've been given. I do have a sponsor. It's RJH Custom Cues, made by Richard Shue out of Brooklyn, New York, and he's been my sponsor for about 2 years. I was actually thinking about doing acting for a long time. I had a lady that I knew that kind of tested me out a little bit in the middle of a restaurant and said that I should be doing that full time. Got into it a little bit, but pool has been my main focus. So until I'm done with this game, if I ever do get, then maybe that'll be something that I'll do. Yes, I have a big hobby, the health food industry. Very, very passionate in it. Natural healing. I don't take antibiotics. I don't take medication unless I absolutely have to. Luckily, I've never been that ill, but I absolutely love vitamins, herbs. I read tons and tons of books all the time. People sometimes get irritated with me because I'm always telling them how to cure themselves naturally. I drink water. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink soda. I'm very, very health conscious in those ways, in nurturing our body. It's a very big passion of mine. Probably bigger than billiards, but it's always going to be right there on the sideline. Well, my mother was always really big at rescuing animals. So ever since I was young, we've always brought animals in. We had 8 cats, 2 dogs. They all lived to be about 24 years old. I actually have a dog right now that has a prosthetic eye and scars all over his head. He has no ears. They were chopped off with butcher knives. Very, very, very violent, and he's the sweetest dog in the world. So we always took in animals that needed it, or strays. I would cry and smash my feet around if my mom wouldn't let me keep her, because I always thought, the only way I know that the animal's going to be okay is if she or he is in my care. So animals are a big, big part. I could never imagine living a day in my house without some type of an animal there. It brings so much peace. And I have a huge thing with horses, a huge thing with the mammal lives. I'm a part of constantly signing petitions to help the wildlife out there and save them. I also deal a lot with the homeopathic remedies for animals. I feed my animals the best of the best. I don't feed them food, actual dog food or cat food. I always feed them, what their, history is in their bloodline, such as meat or grains and, fiber. And so I get a little bit carried away in that whole aspect. Actually, where I moved in Scottsdale, Arizona, I've already had an encounter with a bobcat, and I've had numerous encounters with javelina, and just a lot of wildlife outside of where I live. Javelina kind of looks like I think it's part of the rodent family. So it almost looks like a pig, but it has really, really, really big teeth. It's an Arizona thing, of course. But I've done some exhibitions in Arizona as well, and I've had a tarantula run over my foot. I've had scorpions in front of me. So not trying to scare people from Arizona, but it's, it's quite a commodity of animals there. I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years that smiling is what gets you through. You just always have to be positive and just keep trucking and keep going, and always believe in yourself, and never let anybody tell you that you can't do something. And, don't try to be like somebody else. Be who you are and play like how you play, and just, hone yourself as a person and also as an athlete. I think it's really important. Okay, thank you very much, Tim.